some criminally intentioned people wanted to use social media and digital platforms to disrupt public life.
Also tonight, police still retain the authority and legal mandate to summon him for questioning. Acting Defense Public Information Officer Colonel Chris Magezi stresses as he dismisses claims of security pursuit against Kyagulanyi.
As far as I'm informed, no one is hunting for him. I'm not aware of any criminal offenses at this point. The Minister of Defense, I saw the Minister of Information the other day, have come out and said this very clearly. So he's free to be at his home. And the last time I checked, I think it's this morning or yesterday evening, he was at his home.
And from overseas, NATO chief warns Europe's defense impossible without American backing.
Brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
And in our first story tonight, the Ugandan government has defended the deployment of security forces and the temporary suspension of internet services during and after the recent general elections, citing threats to national security. Now, speaking at the Uganda Media Center, the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Honorable Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, explained that intelligence reports revealed plans by some political actors to incite violence and spread misinformation, prompting preventative measures to maintain public order. We take a look.
In his address, Dr. Baryomunsi explained that security and intelligence agencies had uncovered detailed plans to exploit social media platforms to spread misinformation and disinformation aimed at creating fear, chaos and instability across the country. He added that this prompted the Uganda Communications Commission to temporarily suspend internet services.
Political actors that the government deployed security personnel across the country during and after elections. It is indeed the same reasons why UCC temporarily switched off the internet.
The minister congratulated President Museveni on his re-election, the NRM on its victories, and all elected leaders, while also commending Ugandans for voting and the Electoral Commission for a successful election.
I would like to congratulate His Excellency the President, Yoweri Museveni, for being re-elected.
He stated that the security agencies have arrested two groups of suspects, individuals who reacted violently to their candidates' losses, and organized gangs reportedly linked to NUP, mobilized to incite violence. Those arrested are being processed through the courts, while others remain at large.
Some arrests have been made by security agencies. Arrested people are of two categories. First, there are people that wanted to cause violence simply because the candidates that they supported lost the elections. There was a second category that involved the criminal gangs who were mobilized by their leaders to turn this election period as the launching time.
He said the security presence at Robert Kyagulanyi's home is solely for monitoring suspected insurrection, emphasizing that Kyagulanyi is free, not wanted by the state, and that any choice to go into hiding is his own, reflecting cowardice rather than victimhood.
Honorable Kyagulanyi is not wanted by the state. So if he's hiding from his own shadow, not from the forces of the state.
Baryomunsi said the failure of some biometric voter verification machines was a technical issue, not deliberate, emphasizing that the technology introduced at President Museveni's insistence to uphold the one person, one vote principle would not be abandoned or used for rigging.
Biometric voter verification was to ensure that whoever comes to vote is properly identified. Unfortunately, there were technical hitches.
On low voter turnout, he said there is no scientific explanation yet, nothing that the voting in Uganda is voluntary, and stressed the need to study the factors discouraging citizens from casting their ballots.
The low voter turn-up. I can't claim for now that I have a scientific response.
He said the matter involving Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi is before courts, confirmed that lives were lost, expressed condolences to the bereaved, and emphasized that the case will be investigated, with legal representation, the responsibility of the suspect and their family.
This matter is before a court of law. We may not talk much about the case.
Claims that Dr. Kizza Besigye is seriously ill or denied medical care are false. He explained a mere illness treated by his personal doctors is well and living normally in prison. And authorities say attention should focus on extending his trial rather than politicizing his detention.
Enakwetono eziwedde mabega Dr. Kizza Besigye yafunamu akalwadde ak'ekiddukano.
The government maintains that security measures, technical issues and legal cases are being properly handled, urging focus on law and order, fair trials and avoiding politicization.
Now moving on, Colonel Chris Magezi has dismissed claims that security agencies are pursuing National Unity Platform presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, particularly following the recent attack on his wife Barbie Kyagulanyi at their home. Now he clarified that Kyagulanyi is not being sought by security operatives, faces no criminal charges and is free to return to his home. Our reporter has more. Following the recent assault on Barbie Kyagulanyi, the wife of Robert Kyagulanyi, who was attacked at her home a few days ago, the Acting Defense Public Information Officer of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, Colonel Chris Magezi, has confirmed that security agencies are not in any way pursuing presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi. He further clarified that there are no criminal charges against him and that he is free to return to his home.
As far as I'm informed, no one is hunting for him. I'm not aware of any criminal offenses at this point. The Minister of Defense, I saw the Minister of Information the other day, have come out and said this very clearly. So he's free to be at his home. And the last time I checked, I think it's this morning or yesterday evening, he was at his home. And I think he's there safe and sound.
Despite being allowed to return home, Colonel Magezi noted that the police still retain the authority and legal mandate to summon him for questioning, emphasizing that no one is above the law.
Of course, that does not prevent the security forces, in this case the Uganda Police Force, if they have anything of interest, they can reach out to him and engage him over it. This is a country, Uganda is a country of rules and regulations. No one is above the law. Being a politician or a political party does not grant you any immunity. So if you break the law, certainly the police can come for you. But as at this point, I'm not aware of any offenses you might have committed. Maybe you may wish to check that with the Uganda Police Force.
Meanwhile, following a meeting between the Defense Committee and the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs decried the low pay of security agencies and personnel, emphasizing that there has been no salary increment despite Parliament's approval.
The intervention to enhance salaries of all security agencies, the personnel, the Army, UPDF, where I preside over, was adopted, and initial stages has been completed. They got the first enhancement from the low pay to not where we want, and then I think another increment was supposed to have been in this financial year. All aware that there are other pressing issues, but the issues of welfare of officers from the private to the general and the police and prisons were all concluded and adopted as government.
He questioned the Ministry of Finance on why funds for the financial year 2025-2026 have not been released to all security agencies, emphasizing the importance of the well-being and welfare of security personnel.
We are yet to get explanation why from Ministry of Finance, why they have not given the money to us, but that was all approved. So I may not know at this point why Finance did not release all the money. So I need to refer you to Finance, but also if you get me another day, I will be able to have information why all the monies were not released for this financial year. We are almost midway, and we can't say they won't release. We are not closing financial year yet, but we are still hopeful that the money will come and can be with some areas to those officers.
Now, schools have emerged as the biggest obstacle to the implementation of Uganda's national immunization program, the Ministry of Health has revealed. Officials say resistance and limited cooperation from some learning institutions have slowed vaccination efforts targeting children, despite government assurances that vaccines are safe and vital in preventing deadly diseases. We take a look.
Schools have been identified as the biggest challenge to the implementation of the National Immunization Program, according to the Minister of Health. Speaking during a media briefing, the Permanent Secretary at the Minister of Health, Dr. Diana Twine, revealed that many schools are still reluctant to fully cooperate with vaccination activities, a situation that has slowed down the program targeting learners.
With the wrong information, and they don't take children to. We have highest number of 0 dose, Kampala, Wakiso. So, while we are talking about access in those semi-arid or hard to reach mountainous area, it would surprise you that a place like Buvuma, a place like Kalangala, where access is really difficult, that you have so many islands, people have to travel to go to immunize, in the water, but they are doing well. The coverage is good, is better than Kampala.
Dr. Twine called upon parents, school administrators and the general public to accept the immunization exercise and avoid resisting government health programs.
Bulambuli and those mountainous areas are doing better than Kampala and Wakiso, where we have just house next to each other. The problem is not access at all. The problem is, I don't know, please, we need to dispel this, because it is a big problem. People are very busy. I don't know, busy with what, if they cannot take their children for immunization.
She noted that although most preventable diseases are currently under control through vaccination, more funding is still needed due to the increasing number of children being born in the country.
Happy to announce, I want to have special announcement that every year we are manufacturing, women of Uganda manufacturing 2 million babies. So we think that in the next year we are likely to produce 2.5 or 3 million. So because of that, government must find money to vaccinate. We must add more money. So you see how active our women are. So as we get more babies, the demand for more vaccines, and therefore we must find more money to meet that gap.
The Ministry of Health has warned that malaria remains the leading disease affecting Ugandans, particularly pregnant mothers and younger children.
Kati malaria etta buli lunaku bannayuganda bafa lwa malaria, ate nga tugema twaleta eddagala erigema malaria.
Dr. Diana Twine explained that the malaria vaccine is effective only when children complete all 4 required doses. She urged parents whose children have not completed the dosage to turn up in large numbers for the remaining vaccinations.
However, she clarified that the vaccine does not completely prevent malaria, but rather reduces the severity of the disease and protects children from serious complications.
Abaana baffe tekyandibadde kirungi basuwe omukisa guno okufuna vaccine eno ya malaria, kubanga bw'ofuna malaria vaccine eno ekuwa omubiri gwetegeka ne gukola abasirikale abalwanyisa akawuka ka malaria. Bw'ofuna malaria oba omwana bw'afuna malaria omubiri guba gwetegese ne gulwana n'atafuna malaria ey'amaanyi esobola okumutta oba okwonoona obwongo bwe.
The malaria vaccination program currently costs the government $8.5 million, but officials say additional funding will be required as the population continues to grow.
Well, that's it for our first segment. Now let us take a look at the Archbishop's moment. Archbishop's moment. Sponsored by Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. Join the UCU experience now. And
St. John's Wakiso Secondary School, where faith meets education.
But a tongue, small as it is, it can lit the entire village on fire. Just a tongue gossiping. And now these days, the tongue has reproduced itself in social media. It is killing. People are dying. It is killing people slowly but sure. The tongue, I think James is not here, but if he was here, he would have written about the social media. How? And these days, something can be put on social media and 1,000 people within no time they have responded, even on something they don't know. Even on something they don't understand. I am always in the window peeping and say, how I wish they knew. I don't want to jump on social media on platform and write, resist that. When we're talking about resisting the patterns of this world, social media is one of them. That should be resisted. Others are, you jump in me, you comment this, you comment this, you comment this, you are attacking this one, you're attacking this one. The tongue in chapter 3, which is like fire. And now in chapter 4, James said, if you make yourself a friend of the world, you become an enemy of God.
Archbishop's moment. Sponsored by Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. Join the UCU experience now. And
St. John's Wakiso Secondary School, where faith meets education.
indeed, you need to make sure that you do not conform to the patterns of the world, but also keeping in mind that your words should be words that bless and not break. Well, that's the message for tonight from the Archbishop. We are going for a short commercial break, but do stay tuned. We'll be back with more stories.
abantu bwe bafa babeera
When people
balungi.
die, they are good.
Abadde
A
mulungi.
dead body is always good.
Atukoze bulungi.
He has done us good.
Tazikawo.
We cannot replace
Tewali
him.
atazikawo.
There's no one who is replaceable.
Tewali.
There's no one.
Naye ekiyinza okuyamba
But what can help you?
kwe kukola omukululo
It
omulungi
is to leave a good legacy
nti bali kujjukira.
that people will remember you.
Sometimes I share with my students a small story of an animal which normally is regarded to be the wisest, the hare. Once in a meeting of animals chaired by the lion, which was the king of the animals, he said that all those who are in the meeting and are not married should go out. This is for the marrieds. And then the hare put up a hand. I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Yes. What is it? He said, what about some of us who sleep like married people? Should we also go?
And may I say to those of you who are not yet married, determine what kind of family you want to raise. Because the family that you raise, the children that you get, you will either sink them or you will raise them up to be good citizens and good people in the church.
If you read Proverbs 16:1, they tell you that the plans of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord.
Because we all need love. As long as we are humans, we need love. Now he says yes. But I'm praying that you will experience the greater love.
Welcome back. You are still watching News at 8. Now, Uganda's economy is demonstrating resilience and renewed confidence despite a challenging global financial environment characterized by tight monetary conditions and heightened geopolitical uncertainty. Now, speaking at the Absa Africa Financial Markets Index and Economic Outlook Forum, government and financial sector leaders emphasized that disciplined macroeconomic management and the continued deepening of financial markets are positioning Uganda among Africa's fastest growing economies. We have more.
We all have a role to play in getting this right.
Absa Africa Financial Markets Index and Economic Outlook Forum underscored Africa's financial development journey that is shaped by reform momentum, governance, and exhaustion. The chief guest, Ramadan Ngoi, permanent secretary to the Treasury, noted that while global financing, tightening, geopolitical tensions, and shifting trade dynamics presents challenges, they also create opportunities for economics with deepening financial markets. He reaffirmed that Uganda remains determined to be among these economics, with growth projected between 6.5% and 7% in 2026. Even in an election year, Uganda continues to rank among the fastest growing economics in the region and globally, underpinned by the prudent microeconomic discipline.
Secondly, attracting venture capital that accepts higher risk, requires less collateral, and builds local capacity. Thirdly, establishing an SME-focused stock exchange for firms that do not meet the conventional listing criteria. And four, strengthening corporate governance and management capacity in local businesses to boost competitiveness domestically, regionally, and internationally. And finally, further capitalizing our development bank, the Uganda Development Bank, to meet demand for long-term affordable finance. Our strategy is simple. We are going to consolidate the achievements while reforming the weaker areas. This index provides valuable guidance for our tenfold growth strategy. As you are aware, and I'll repeat, we are working on a mission. The mission is to build a $500 billion economy by 2040.
Michael Ating, Ego Governor, Bank of Uganda, highlighted that the Bank of Uganda's 2022 to 2027 strategic strategies included a financial exhaustion index of 75%, an e-payments index of 46%, and continued progress in the financial market development, with some market targets already surpassed. He noted that recent gains have been supported by the reforms across core market infrastructure, including the deepening of repo and money markets, and emphasized that these achievements reflect collective effort across the government, regulators, parliament, and the market participators.
In Uganda, we have a very robust legal and regulatory infrastructure as reflected in the index. Foreign exchange market liquidity continues to expand, with the daily turnover rising to $22 billion in 2025. This is the total for 2025, up from $17.5 billion in 2024. The FX Code has reinforced ethical conduct and transparency. Our foreign exchange reserves are currently at USD 5.6 billion, representing approximately 4.2 months of import cover, and reflects the continued strengthening of our external buffers against shocks.
Anthony, the managing director, the head of the Global Markets Africa Region Operations Africa, highlighted on the financial market report, noting that Uganda managed to score 66%, ranking third country in the financial market maturity.
Uganda has demonstrated extraordinary consistency, remaining in the top 10 for all AFME editions, and in the top 3 for the last 3 years, a reflection of ongoing reforms, commitment to transparency, and expanding market capabilities. This year's leap forward was strengthened by Uganda making the most progress in two pillars where many other African markets continue to struggle. This is Pillar 2, access to foreign exchange, and Pillar 4, pension funds.
Now moving on, tension and anger gripped Chisanga ward in Kasese municipality yesterday after a fire broke out on a truck loaded with sandals, but police fire brigade officers reportedly failed to respond. Now locals were forced to battle the flames themselves for nearly 2 hours using tap water and sand to extinguish the blaze. We take a look.
The incident occurred at 11 a.m. when a truck registration number UBK 529Q caught fire or reportedly being welded at the local garage. Sparks are said to have ignited sandals locally known as Jorojo that were loaded on the truck, sparking a blaze that quickly spread through the merchandise.
twarora motoka yatandika kushi tweja twagezao kutasa tutune chokora okuba umuro gubere gumazire kwata mwingi omuro ngiwe sana ngura bojo nibabaza babene bahine choma chichwekere ne bachochi then nicho chaleto ubuzibu.
Residents say they made repeated calls to the police fire brigade, but no fire truck arrived. The fire was eventually brought under control by locals around 1 p.m. using tap water and sand. As frustration grew, some residents vented their anger on a Hima cement firefighting vehicle, plating it with stones and accusing the crew of arriving too late, by which time the truck and its cargo had already suffered extensive damage.
Polisi yaganya kujja kukimebukeyo ate ne batutasa ko abantu abataka batuze kati bena mara okuzikira bo bakulaga nti bajja kukola ki bajja kugikimanya bakitwala ku polisi ate jukira babagala ki bagala sento kujijjayo anti bye era byebyo nabyo kati abo batuyambe kibonga government twalonda abalonzi bakutuyambako kyekiba kituseko nga kimbi nga batuyambeko.
Bakuliachi Sadaras, the owner of the band Sandals, said she had lost property worth millions of shillings and accused the police of neglect.
Transit yosi ya masha ya mahwa kusa atasakani chidea na chume chana mihaho. Beitu mazimanga utu wabulu na habwa government ya treno. Matoka ya mahiro akuhine polisi. Singata banano mpolisi no muuma iyaga lwa iriba tukase tuwa tikaye erisali mya matoka. Abataka bama hiramu amani bama waticho wa mutaka owe maeto owe chipido owe chibeti sinata banano mpolisi no muuma iyaga lwa iyaga watalakanga tawa tichi.
The other witnesses echoed her concerns, accusing the police of rescuing pattern of delayed and absent responses to the fire outbreak in the area.
Yakabi, DPC, RDC, bendiza abantu abataka bakwata ebisani matoka eriyo nesia bundi egi command erugirege from above niwabaragire don't send any police missions for rescue. Habokuba abantu kiwolekere nti akaruru kahwaire timukyatwetaga ito abantu exactly ekikorwa ekimukozireho ekikorwa ekimukozi kibaine kimanyisaki so eki ninkigambira kimu nintira na ruhanga.
By the time a reporter left the scene, the police had still not arrived to manage the situation or issue an official statement. The cause of the fire brigade's delayed response remains unclear, and residents are demanding answers as well as improved emergency services to prevent similar losses in the future.
Quite unfortunate right there. But moving on, the Bishop of South Rwenzori Diocese, the Right Reverend Nason Baluku, has commissioned a new archdeaconry in Hima Town Council, calling on Christians to remain united, faithful and committed to God's service without segregation. Now, the commissioning ceremony held at St. Peter's Church of Uganda in Hima drew clergy, lay leaders, local authorities, and thousands of believers from different parts of the country. Take a look.
While presiding over the service, Bishop Nason Baruku urged Christians to remain united, noting that the new archdeaconry brings together people from different tribes across the country. He emphasized that the archdeaconry belongs to God and should not be treated as a personal asset by anyone.
Hati obasabadiko ni bwehima rakola obasabadiko ni bwahima kukura teka kula yakanisa rukura sereria ya mundu mu teyo muntu amwe yikabe abantu banene ne abantu benshi nabantu abangangese baleyo nabantu abose ko bateroho. The current leadership for hima archdeaconry obwana mbazo busya obasabadiko ni bwahima you have the task to identify people's gifts in this mushame mwina mushulani sibo bakumanyira ebichonto by'abantu and bring this people on board.
Bishop Nason Baruku said that the new archdeaconry aims to strengthen pastoral care and improve church administration, adding that its growth must be guided by biblical and prayerful leadership. He also thanked Canon Abiawere for his dedicated service.
Sure that they grow, hima archdeaconry grow. Okubasisa hima ukobusabadiko no kukura. It must have a leadership which is based on the Bible. Number 2, ensonga ya kabiri, it must be a church built on prayer. It must be a church with a clear actionable mission.
Father urged Christians to use the new structure to promote unity, evangelism and community development, emphasizing that the church must grow not only spiritually but also structurally to effectively reach every believer.
I expect a church that is growing, when it is time for prayer, should be time for prayer. When it is time for singing, should be time for singing. When it is time for reading the word, must be time for a vibrant and relevant church. It must have real worship.
The Diocesan Secretary of South Sudan Diocese, Reverend Canon Buremu, presented Canon Nelson Warina on behalf of the Diocese Council, whose staff board meeting held on 3rd October 2025 selected him as the Archdeacon of the newly created Hima Archdeaconry.
Omwarina area Diocesan Council gatulawo kandende omwa staff board eyebiro bisatu okwe kwezi kumi mwaka 2025 muyabya ekasoha.
The bishop then commissioned the newly appointed archdeacon, Venerable Nelson Warina, tasking him to lead with humility, integrity, and dedication to God's work. In his acceptance speech, Venerable Warina thanked the bishop and pledged to work closely with clergy and Christians to grow the church and support community development initiatives.
I want to take this opportunity to appreciate my Lord Bishop, Right Reverend Nason Baruku, for giving us this time to inaugurate the new archdeaconry as Hima Archdeaconry in this South Sudan Diocese. We thank all the people that have turned up, including the politicians, the canons of the cathedral, our lay leaders, the clergy, and all the Christians that have turned up.
Christians welcomed the new archdeaconry, saying that we boost service delivery and spiritual growth and pledge to work together in unity to develop it.
Ekusemba obwembezi bulungi obwa government ya NRM habo obusinge obutwine tutukakora ebyona tutine obusinge so twabikora habwo ngutine obusinge ihanga lyona liri peaceful abembezi batusupportingire amadini gona ga supportinga abasiramu ya one real
tukasima yenyamahanga ayo amatukolera kyembagana erikikire obuhereze bwahakuhi kusangubwa omuntu amatunga bose badikoni na tukoye tutsemire tukende tukatungisha services eseningesha wandu masabadikoni akanantunga kandi tukwasimata cha bishop ahabwe chamani.
During the event, Bishop Nason Baruku also confirmed over 50 Christians. The commissioning of Hima Archdeaconry is a major milestone for the diocese, which now has 15 archdeaconries. The new archdeaconry was carved out of Mariba Archdeaconry to strengthen the church and expand its reach. Compiled by Xavier Baruku in Kasese for Church of Uganda Family TV, News at 8.
And as we move on, preliminary results from various polling stations across Soroti City indicate that National Resistance Movement flag bearers are taking an early lead in the closely watched Soroti City East and West mayoral races. Now, in the Soroti City East Division, Latif Abdul Wali is leading his rivals, while John Enomu has taken the lead in the Soroti City West Division, according to provincial tallies from polling stations. Now, the mayoral contests attracted a total of 12 candidates, with 7 candidates vying for Soroti City East and 5 contesting in Soroti City West, making the race one of the most competitive local government elections in the region. We have more details.
I'm among the candidates, and by God's grace, I am #1 in the ballot paper. And I pray that God makes it better, that the #1 takes it. I am here very strong. I do feel I will make it. I have a belief, but I know with God everything is possible. I understand that there are situations that have been making people fear, even sometimes to vote. But we are praying and requesting our people to come here and vote for this day and vote for me.
Unfortunately, we have already encountered very unfair procedures in Aloyet. By 6 a.m. all the ballot papers were over and I'd already fixed them in the ballot box. At the skilling center, the usual thing is now a killing center that everyone in Soroti West is being killed from. But nevertheless, I have moved around many other wards and it's peaceful. I have only cited out those 2 areas because it's where I saw some irregularities, but I've already communicated with the Electoral Commission and they are willing to handle.
I am the only one who campaigned in the whole of Soroti City East. The rest of the people have just gone on spot. I have reached the ground, I've talked to people, I have told them my manifesto, and I believe they understood me and they know for the best of Soroti, I am the one. I am very sure it is a winning vote because as I moved and the trust I have in people, I believe I am very, very sure that I'm taking this time.
In our international news tonight, NATO chief warns that Europe cannot defend itself without the support of the United States. And Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte emphasizes that Europe must stop relying solely on itself for defense. This comes amid ongoing discussions about European security, NATO's transatlantic alliances, and the US role in global defense.
Issuing a pretty sharp warning, the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte told the EU lawmakers that Europe cannot defend itself without American support. He called the idea of Europe standing alone as just a dream, wishing luck to those who believed otherwise. The Mark Rutte said that the US President Donald Trump has agreed on 2 work streams to ease tensions over Greenland. One that involves NATO taking greater responsibility for the Arctic defense, while the other is strictly between US, Denmark and Greenland.
So when President Trump is doing good stuff, I will praise him. And I don't mind him publishing text messages. And if anyone thinks here, again, that the European Union or Europe as a whole can defend itself without the US, keep on dreaming. You can't. We can't. We need each other.
Now, he warned that if Europe were to go all out alone, it will need more than double its current defense spending targets, potentially reaching 10% of the GDP, and also build its own nuclear capacity to replace the US nuclear umbrella.
But for Europe, if you really want to go it alone, and those of you who are planning for that, forget that you can ever get there with 5%. It will be 10%. You have to build up your own nuclear capability. That costs billions and billions of euros. You will lose then, in that scenario, you would lose the ultimate guarantor of our freedom, which is the US nuclear umbrella. Good luck.
Meanwhile, the Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen also praised Europe's strength and unity over Greenland, calling the dispute a matter of democratic principles and integrity.
I have to say that I think Europe has shown strength and unity these past weeks. I'm grateful, but I also have to say it's the only way forward. We have to build a much stronger Europe. To get there, we need to become more self-sufficient, more competitive, and more independent.
The Mette Frederiksen was in fact speaking at the Hamburg North Sea Summit that was hosted by Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who echoed solidarity with Denmark and Greenland's people.
I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate that Denmark and the people of Greenland in particular can count on our solidarity. At the same time, Europe as a whole will do more to secure the Arctic. This is in the common transatlantic interest. We also agreed on this today.
The Greenland's government is now studying the psychological impact of Trump's push to acquire the autonomous Danish territory. The Health Minister, Anna Wangenheim, said that the debate has in fact weighed heavily on residents' emotions.
Well, that's it from our international news. Now let us have a recap of our news headlines.
Headlines brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
In our top stories, security and intelligence agencies had uncovered detailed plans to exploit social media platforms to spread misinformation and disinformation aimed at creating fear, chaos, and instability across the country. Government defends election security measures and internet shutdown.
It's important to disrupt the digital service, the internet, for the sake of security, the security of you and I. Because like I have said, there was information available where some criminally intentioned people wanted to use social media and digital platforms to disrupt public life.
Also tonight, police still retain the authority and legal mandate to summon him for questioning. Acting Defense Public Information Officer Colonel Chris Magezi stresses as he dismisses claims of security pursuit against Kyagulanyi.
As far as I'm informed,
no one is hunting for him. I'm not aware of any criminal offenses at this point. The Minister of Defense, I saw the Minister of Information the other day, have come out and said this very clearly. So he's free to be at his home. And the last time I checked, I think either this morning or yesterday evening, he was at his home.
And from overseas, NATO chief warns Europe's defense impossible without American backing.
Brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
Well, that's it for tonight, and of course we do want to say thank you for watching News at 8 here on Church of Uganda Family TV. My name is Hope Nyongereza and I wish you a good night.